Welcome back to Narrative Network. Imagine finding out that you're pregnant with twins. But here's the twist. The twins have different fathers. This rare and shocking discovery sends shockwaves through Dr. Leah Carter's life, leaving her to navigate an emotional roller coaster of love, responsibility, and unexpected truths. As she faces the consequences of an unplanned pregnancy with two different men, Leah must make life-altering decisions that challenge everything she thought she knew about love, family, and fate. Stay with us until the end, because this story is filled with twists and turns that will keep you on the edge of your seat. If you believe in the power of second chances, love's complexities, and the strength to overcome the unexpected, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's dive into this emotional journey together. Dr. Leah Carter was a dedicated and brilliant obstetrician in a bustling city hospital. At 33, she had earned the respect of her colleagues, patients, and her community. She had always been a woman in control of her life, especially in her professional career. As the youngest chief of obstetrics in the hospital's history, she was proud of her accomplishments. Her life was orderly, well-organized, and balanced, even though at times it felt like she was sacrificing her own happiness for the sake of her career. Leah had long ago accepted that her romantic life would have to take a back seat to her work. Dating had always been difficult with her demanding schedule, and after several failed relationships, she decided it was better to focus solely on her work and care for her patients. Love and family would have to wait, or so she thought. She lived a simple life in a small but cozy apartment near the hospital, with books stacked on every shelf and plants thriving in the windows. At work, she was efficient, professional, and always available to lend an ear to those who needed it. But even with all the success, Leah had a feeling deep down that something was missing, though she couldn't quite figure out what it was. One evening, after a particularly grueling shift, Leah met someone who changed everything. It started as a casual encounter at a coffee shop near the hospital. She had gone there to unwind, savoring a hot cup of coffee after a long day. That's when she noticed him. Ethan, a tall, handsome man in his early 30s, who was sitting alone at a table. He had a kind smile and looked approachable, something that intrigued Leah, who was often wary of strangers. Ethan noticed her and smiled warmly. "Mind if I join you? I've been trying to find a good spot around here." Leah, a bit taken aback by his sudden approach, hesitated for a moment, but then nodded. "Sure, why not?" They started talking, initially about trivial things, favorite books, hobbies, and what brought them both to the coffee shop at that hour. It turned out that Ethan was a journalist working for a well-known publication. He had a passion for health and wellness, which sparked Leah's interest, especially given her work as an obstetrician. They both realized they had much in common, and soon their conversation turned into something deeper. Over the following weeks, Leah and Ethan met regularly. They enjoyed each other's company, and before long, their connection evolved into something more. Leah found herself falling for Ethan in a way she had never expected. He was kind, thoughtful, and made her feel like she mattered beyond her career. One evening, Ethan took her to a local park for a romantic picnic. As the sun set and the stars began to appear, Ethan held Leah's hand, looking into her eyes. "Leah, I've never met anyone like you. I feel so lucky to have you in my life." Leah, still unsure of her own feelings, found herself caught in a whirlwind of emotions. She smiled softly. "I never thought I'd feel like this again. Not with my life being so chaotic." "You deserve love too, Leah," Ethan said. "I promise I'll be here for you through all the chaos." And for the first time in years, Leah allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, she could have both love and a fulfilling career. Months passed, and Leah and Ethan's relationship deepened. Leah found herself in a place she never thought she'd be, in love and hopeful about the future. But just as everything seemed perfect, her life would take an unexpected turn. One morning, Leah woke up feeling unusually nauseous. She dismissed it at first, thinking it was just stress from her hectic schedule. But as the days went by, the nausea persisted. Finally, after missing her period for the second month in a row, Leah decided to take a pregnancy test. The results were positive. Leah stared at the test in disbelief. Pregnancy was something Leah had always envisioned in her future, but never with the urgency that now stood before her. She knew she had to tell Ethan, but she was filled with nervousness. How would he react? They hadn't planned for this. Would they be ready for the responsibility? A week later, Leah called Ethan to meet her at her apartment. She had called in sick for the day. This was a conversation that couldn't wait. When Ethan arrived, he immediately noticed something was different. Leah was pacing nervously in the living room. "Leah, what's going on?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. Leah took a deep breath. "Ethan, I'm pregnant. We're having a baby." Ethan froze. His face went pale, and for a long moment he couldn't speak. "Pregnant? But we weren't planning this." "I know," Leah said softly. "I didn't expect this either, but it's happening." Ethan finally looked at her, a mix of shock and confusion on his face. "Are you sure? This is a big thing, Leah. How did this happen?" Leah felt her heart sink. She had no reason to doubt the pregnancy test, but her mind immediately jumped to the possibility that there was something more complicated at play. After all, Ethan wasn't the only man she'd been intimate with in recent months. She had recently ended a brief yet intense fling with another man, a fellow doctor at the hospital, David, right before she met Ethan. The thought had never crossed her mind until now, but the timing of everything suddenly became so much clearer. Could she be pregnant with twins? Could one of them be David's child? Leah scheduled an appointment with her gynecologist, Dr. Harper, who had been her mentor for years. After a thorough examination and a blood test, Dr. Harper confirmed what Leah had feared: she was carrying twins. But the shock didn't end there. "You're pregnant with twins, Leah, but there's something unusual I need to tell you," Dr. Harper said gently, her voice filled with concern. "You're carrying two babies, and they have different fathers." Leah felt her heart drop into her stomach. "What do you mean, different fathers?" Dr. Harper explained that Leah's situation was rare, a phenomenon called superfecundation, where two separate eggs are fertilized by sperm from different men during the same menstrual cycle. She assured Leah that it was a very rare occurrence, but nonetheless, it was medically possible. Leah's mind spun. Two babies? From two different fathers? The possibilities seemed almost impossible. She had been with Ethan for months, but her brief fling with David just before meeting him had clearly caused this medical anomaly. Leah's thoughts raced. How would she explain this to Ethan? What would David say? Could she even bear to tell them both the truth? Leah spent the next few days in a whirlwind of emotions. She couldn't bear the thought of losing Ethan, who had become such an integral part of her life. But she also couldn't deny the reality of the situation. She had no choice but to be honest, even though it terrified her. When she finally sat down with Ethan to explain everything, his reaction was one of shock and confusion, just as Leah had anticipated. "Two fathers?" Ethan repeated, his voice low. "How did this happen, Leah?" "I didn't plan for this," she explained, her voice shaky. "Before I met you, I was briefly involved with someone else. I didn't know then that it would have such a big impact. I wasn't thinking about the timing, Ethan." Ethan sat in silence, his gaze distant. "This changes everything, Leah," he said, his tone hardening. "I don't know if I can handle this. This wasn't what I expected." "I didn't expect it either," Leah cried, her emotions overwhelming her. "But I need you, Ethan. I need your support. I've always been the one in control, but I don't know what to do anymore." Ethan looked at her, his expression torn. "I don't know if I can handle this, Leah. I don't know if I'm ready for this kind of responsibility. 2 children, from 2 different men. What does that mean for us?" "I don't know," Leah whispered. "But I love you, and I want to build a future with you. Please don't walk away from me now." Ethan took a deep breath, clearly struggling with his emotions. "I need time to think about this, Leah." Over the next few weeks, Leah faced the challenges of her pregnancy with determination and courage. But the strain on her relationship with Ethan grew. He distanced himself, unsure of how to navigate the complex situation they were in. While Leah understood his uncertainty, it broke her heart to watch him pull away. Meanwhile, David, who had been informed of the situation, stepped forward and offered his support. He too was shocked by the news, but assured Leah that he would be there for her and the babies, regardless of the situation. In time, Leah made a decision. She couldn't allow herself to be torn between 2 men, 2 different lives. She needed to focus on what was best for her and the children, no matter the challenges it brought. After deep reflection, Leah realized that she needed to move forward independently. She would raise the twins with love and care, surrounded by a strong network of support from both Ethan and David. The day of the birth arrived, and Leah found herself in the hospital once more, this time as a patient. The delivery was long and exhausting, but Leah's strength carried her through. When the twins were finally born, first a girl, then a boy, Leah held them close, overwhelmed by love and relief. Despite everything that had happened, she felt an immense sense of gratitude for the children she was now holding. Ethan had come around and stood by her side during the birth, but David too was there, ready to co-parent and offer the support Leah needed. It was a moment of unexpected unity as the 3 of them, though not romantically involved, had come to an understanding about their roles in the children's lives. With time, the relationships healed. Leah, Ethan, and David co-parented the twins with love and respect, building a life for the children that was filled with joy, even if it didn't fit into the traditional molds of family life. Leah realized that, while her life hadn't gone according to plan, it was still beautiful. Her journey was a reminder that love doesn't always follow the expected path, but it can still lead to happiness, growth, and the creation of a family that defies convention. As the months passed, Leah, Ethan, and David navigated the delicate balance of co-parenting. The twins, a beautiful girl named Ava and a lively boy named Leo, brought unexpected joy into their lives. It wasn't always easy. The dynamics of their unusual family structure were constantly evolving, and each day brought its own set of challenges and moments of tenderness. But through it all, Leah discovered that love could exist in many forms, and the support system she had built around herself was stronger than she had ever anticipated. In the beginning, there were awkward moments when Ethan would retreat into himself, unsure of his role in the children's lives. David, on the other hand, often tried to assert himself as a father figure, sometimes leading to tension between the 2 men. But Leah, with her patient heart, guided them through the difficult times, always reminding them that their shared responsibility was to provide a loving environment for the children. One day, as she was sitting in her living room with the twins playing nearby, Leah reflected on how much her life had changed. She had gone from a woman who prided herself on control to a mother whose heart had opened up to new experiences. She realized that despite the unconventional way her family had formed, it was perfect for her. Ethan had come to terms with the reality of the situation. While he had been hesitant at first, he now found himself deeply connected to Ava and Leo, his love for them growing stronger with each passing day. They had become his family, and in many ways, Leah's unwavering support had healed him from his own insecurities and fears. David, too, had found peace. He had initially feared the idea of being an outsider in the family, but as time went on, he embraced his role as a co-parent, and his bond with the twins strengthened. He loved them as his own and was committed to being an active part of their lives. 6 months after the birth of the twins, Leah sat down with Ethan and David to have an important conversation. As the children napped, she knew it was time to discuss their future as a family. "We've been doing this together for a while now," Leah began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "But I think it's time we talk about how we can create something more permanent, something that gives Ava and Leo a sense of security and stability." Ethan nodded, looking at David for support. "What do you have in mind, Leah?" he asked, his expression open. "I think it's time we formalize this situation," she said, a smile playing at her lips. "I've been thinking a lot about it, and I realize how important it is for Ava and Leo to see us as a united front. I want to raise them in a home where they feel loved by both of you, not just as co-parents, but as family. And I know it's complicated, but I believe it can work." David reached over and squeezed Leah's hand. "You've given us all so much, Leah, and I want nothing more than to give these kids a loving, stable home." Ethan smiled softly, his eyes filled with tenderness. "I've seen how hard you work, Leah, and how much you've done to make sure this family works. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be the kind of father Ava and Leo need." In that moment, Leah realized how far they had come. They weren't a traditional family, but they were hers, and they had created something beautiful together. As Leah and the men discussed the logistics of co-parenting and the future of their family, they made the decision to have a legal co-parenting agreement. This would ensure that Ava and Leo's future was protected, no matter what. It wasn't about a romantic relationship between Leah, Ethan, and David. It was about the love they all shared for the children and the importance of their involvement in each other's lives. The three of them attended parenting classes together, learning how to work as a team and embrace their different roles in the children's upbringing. They even sought therapy, both individually and as a group, to help process their feelings and establish healthy communication. Through all these efforts, they grew stronger as a family, with Leah always at the center, guiding them with her love, wisdom, and unwavering commitment to the twins. As Ava and Leo grew, so did the bond between their co-parents. Ethan and David both took active roles in raising the children, attending their school events, sports practices, and helping with their homework. They celebrated birthdays together, took family vacations, and created a warm, welcoming home for the twins to thrive. Though Leah had once worried that her family would be considered unconventional, she began to see that it was perfect in its own way. The love they had for each other, and the love they had for Ava and Leo, was all that mattered. A year after Ava and Leo were born, Leah received a call that would change the trajectory of her career. The hospital where she had worked for the last decade offered her a prestigious position as the head of a new department focused on women's health and family medicine. It was a big step forward and one she had always dreamed of, but now she had to consider how this would fit into her new family dynamic. Sitting at the dinner table one evening, Leah looked at Ethan and David, both of whom had become indispensable partners in raising Ava and Leo. She took a deep breath and shared the news. "I've been offered the position of head of a new department at the hospital," Leah began, her voice filled with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "It's a huge opportunity, but I need to know if we're ready for the changes this will bring." Ethan and David exchanged glances, both understanding the weight of Leah's decision. Ethan was the first to speak. "Leah, you've worked so hard for this, and I know how passionate you are about your career. We'll make it work. We're in this together." David nodded. "You've always put others first, Leah. Now it's your time. We're all here to support you no matter what." With their encouragement, Leah accepted the position. It was a decision that not only advanced her career, but also reinforced the strength of her unconventional family. She knew that no matter how busy she became, she would always have Ethan and David by her side, helping her navigate the complexities of life, love, and motherhood. As the years passed, Leah, Ethan, and David continued to raise Ava and Leo in a home filled with love, laughter, and support. The twins grew up knowing that their family wasn't traditional, but it was filled with strength and unity. They learned early on the importance of love, acceptance, and understanding. No matter how different people's backgrounds or circumstances might be, Leah and her co-parents had created a life that many people would never have imagined, but it worked for them. They celebrated holidays together, took family photos, and attended the twins' events as a team. While others might have looked at them and seen something unconventional, Leah saw something beautiful, a family forged from love, resilience, and a deep commitment to each other. In time, Leah came to fully embrace the life she had built. She knew that life wasn't about following a set path or adhering to societal expectations. It was about creating something meaningful with the people who mattered most. And for Leah, that was Ethan, David, Ava, and Leo, her family. The love that Leah had for her children and her co-parents continued to grow, and together they faced life's challenges with the unwavering belief that love, true love, could overcome any obstacle. Leah realized that while life might not always go according to plan, it often leads to the most beautiful, unexpected outcomes. She had built a family that was beyond what she had ever imagined, one that was stronger than anything she had ever expected. And with Ethan, David, Ava, and Leo by her side, she knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together. Years later, as Leah watched Ava and Leo graduate from high school, she reflected on the incredible journey they had all shared. The twins were happy, well-adjusted, and surrounded by a strong support system of people who loved them unconditionally. Ethan and David, once unsure of their roles, had become pillars of strength in their children's lives, and Leah couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of pride. Her career had flourished, and she had helped countless women through her work at the hospital. But it was the family she had created, this unconventional yet beautiful family, that brought her the most joy. As she stood beside Ethan and David at the graduation ceremony, Leah realized that the greatest achievement of her life wasn't her career or her success. It was the love and unity they had built together. She had found her true happiness in the most unexpected of places, and she knew that whatever came next, they would face it as a family. And in that moment, as she held her children's hands and looked at the men she had learned to love in different ways, Leah knew that love, real love, was never about perfection. It was about resilience, support, and the willingness to grow together, no matter what life threw their way. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more exciting content like this. We have plenty of incredible stories coming your way that you won't want to miss. If you found this story intriguing, share it with your friends, and let's keep the conversation going. Your support means the world to us. See you in the next video.